etc. So yeah, just warding basic spots. That one, as I thought about it afterwards, might have been not the best ward in the world, since we already have another ward it's in a similar spot. If I wanted to place that one, I probably should have placed it on the hill, on the Hellborn side, like the hill by the second middle tower. The hill to the left, the second middle tower, would probably have been a better place to place it. Also, I see that our Kronos is going Rune Dax, so I'm going to start stacking the Ancients for him. I would love to stack the other jungle spots as well, but our Tempest will not leave the jungle no matter how much we want him to. Yeah, I'm trying to buy some stuff from the courier, but Tempest uses his couriers like it's his job. But I mean, like I said, it's probably a good thing. And I'm a support hero, so I can't really complain too much. You can see them, yeah, they're running in now. So the one time Tempest died, since then he's paid pretty good attention. But yeah, where they're running in now is probably where I should have the ward instead, but the other wards worked out pretty well anyway. And the reason why I placed that ward up on that hill was just so that if we tried to push mid for that tower, we would have sight of Devourer trying to hook us. So it's not the worst move ever. So anyway, yes, they're probably trying to gank us mid or gank Tempest in the jungle, which means they probably have a ward in there. So maybe I should counter ward it, but there's a lot of different spots it could be, although still potentially worth counter warding, but not the biggest deal in the world right now. Again, partially, and this is completely a mentality that I shouldn't have. I'm completely willing to accept that, but it's possible that, again, I kind of want Tempest to die a little bit. Again, not good, not a good way to play, and I do obviously want to win every time I play. I'm a very competitive person, but you know, sometimes there's just that guy that maybe you just wouldn't be the most unhappy in the world to see them die. So anyway, I think they're pushing top here, but there's no reason for me not to get this farm because I can teleport in there. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Pink there. Maybe just a good pyro nuke to take down some trees or something. So yeah, because I'm pretty close to my Tablet of Command, and Tablet of Command seems like a pretty useful item. I see them in our woods though, so as soon as I see that on the minimap, I'm going to teleport over, and you can see I use Alt to queue up where I'm going to run afterwards. I see the fight's not maybe going the best, but I throw out a healing Kronos so that he can run back in, fight, and then yeah, Kraken ult, which I ult into as well. Obviously throwing out the cast first. And so we kind of turned the fight a little bit. I mean, it ended up being a 2-on-2. No, a 1-for-2 actually, because Hag died in the bottom, teleporting or something. So again, I'm just going to keep healing my teammates every time I get the chance. Kronos may be a little bit more important, but Kraken was closer to me, so it just seemed like a better move, and then throwing out the cask when I can. Of course, the cask doesn't bounce to the Soul Reaper initially, but then does bounce to him eventually, so it worked out. That's just cask for you, you know. Unfortunately, this did lead to Kraken dying. If the cask had bounced the way I would have hoped it would, and to the closest target. I mean, the Soul Reaper was closest to the Pyro when the cask was originally thrown. Then the Kraken probably wouldn't have died, but what can you do? That's RNG for you. So yeah, I finished my Tablet of Command, which seems good because of Devour, because of maybe being able to push a teammate out of a Kronos ult or an enemy into a Kronos ult, etc. There's a lot of range of applications with all the AoE ults for using Tablet of Command. Unfortunately, I'll be the first to admit that I don't really use it as well as I should. This is just the rustiness, to be honest. I haven't used. I mean, I don't really play support very often to begin with. Oh, so there's a ton of farm up here, so whenever you see this, you should probably let your people know. I don't ping, so maybe I should have pinged, which would help more, but Kronos should definitely be up here taking all this farm, which is what I'm telling him right now, or was just telling him. But since there's no one else up here, obviously I'm going to take it. Like, it would be dumb to just let all this free experience and occasional gold that I can pick off go, to the point where the Kraken eventually teleports in, although it's a little late. But yeah, so even as your support hero, if no one else is going to take it, there's no reason not to. I mean, that's, you know, 2 more sets of wards, another level of Cursed Ground, which I don't use, etc. But yeah, so basically just rustiness on using Tablet, because I don't play support heroes very much, so therefore I don't have many opportunities to use Tablet, and so I just haven't used it very much. I just wasn't used to having the possibility of using it, I guess you could say. But, I mean, it's a great item in general, and in these situations, I think there's plenty of more opportunities to use it, so I like it. Gonna buy some rewards, always keeping a homecoming stone on me. I'm generally pretty good about this when I play a support hero like this. It's maybe just, well, it's because I have space in my inventory. I hate having to sell things from my inventory, and I usually buy like lots of other stat items. Anyway, so we see the Devourer going after our courier here, which means they most likely have a ward in our woods if they were trying to pick up the courier, because it's pretty unlikely there was another way they saw it unless they had an invis hero, which I'm pretty sure they didn't. like an invis rune person. So you can see we're all playing back to the far right of the middle lane here. I actually run up a little bit further than I should, but pretty safe, because we know Devourers in our woods there, and so you just don't want to get hooked. Anyway, we see they're going to go take top tower, so we're going to try to counter by taking bottom tower first, and then teleporting in top. And wait, what was that? We're going to go take bottom tower first? Oh, okay. So actually what this means is that one person's going to go farm the Ancients, two people are going to go farm their jungle, and the other person's going to stay in mid. So the idea of taking a tower and then teleporting back to defend a tower is a good one, but only works when the execution is there. This is not really the exact execution. So anyway, just, yeah, max mana, someone with low HP, always healing. No, I mean, it's a short cooldown, so basically use it whenever you can. We're kind of committed to taking this tower now that we've already lost the top tower. We really have to take it, and then as soon as we take it, I'm going to TP, yeah, back to defend here. Normally, you can see I alt queue up, but there I wasn't sure my teammates would be there in time. They throw out their barrier idol, which is pretty, actually not that early of a barrier idol, but so I'm just going to kind of, like, I think we should play back at this point. You know, a lot of our damage is magic damage, so we don't want to just waste it all into that barrier idol. But now, finally, we have a good opportunity to go. I'm kind of right in the middle of things, which is a bad place to be as a Voodoo Jester. So, yeah, I just heal him back out, and then see that this person's kind of tearing up our hag. So I go throw a stun, use a Curse of Ground, which actually gets animation canceled because I thought the cast distance on it was longer, which is another reason Curse of Ground doesn't get used as much as it should here. Throw out a heal on Tempest. Unfortunately, this Soul Reaper has haste, so there's not much we're going to be able to do about that. Yeah, again, trying to place a Cursed Ground on a hasted hero seems bad, especially when, like I said, I just don't have much experience using Cursed Ground, because I haven't played this hero much. Yeah, so my failure in Cursed Ground there kind of costs us a kill, but I'm not sure I would have been able to land it, even if I had anticipated how what the cast range on it was, etc. But yeah, landing it on that Predator first would have maybe let us kill him faster, which would have been better. So, kind of my fault, but the fight worked out decently. Kronos lived, which is important. Kronos is now level 16, so that means he's been farming for a while. So we're doing alright. You know, we have inevitability, because we really have one of the hardest carries in the game against Predator, who, like I said, is good, but not Kronos. So now I can kind of afford to get a luxury item. I mean, I guess you could say Tablet is kind of a luxury item, because you don't really need it, but it's kind of a cheap support item to pick up that's not too big of a problem. But now I'm actually going to work on... Oh yeah, so I'm counter-warding here because I assume they have a ward that they saw a courier with, so I counter-ward the most likely spots. Don't see any. That doesn't mean there wasn't a ward at the time. It's possible it's just expired by now, because they were ganking our jungle a lot earlier with Tempest, so it seems reasonable to think that they would have had a fair amount of wards for a while. But yeah, so I'm going to go for a Shrunken Head. I think it's reasonable because they have a fair amount of stuns, and being able to Shrunken Head while ulting seems good. So yeah, that's the first luxury item I'm going to pick up. There's probably some more items I could have gone, but again, just inexperience kind of dictated my choices here. Any suggestions are more than welcome. So just stacking the Ancients again. We see that Devourer is mid. Kraken really should be running up to the left like Hag is, but for some reason decides to run straight back. And then obviously hits a tree. One good use of Tablet here, finally, which is one of the reasons you get it, is for a situation like that. We see them going on us. I should probably help out with Predator first, maybe throw down a heal, but again, my instincts kick in. I see a Kronos ult. So I'm actually trying to heal Kronos here, but he keeps running away. It takes about 3 seconds of me shouting at him to finally get him to come close to a heal. So maybe I stayed away for a little bit too long. Should have been helping out. Again, miss a Cursed Ground, but he had Stone Hide up. So we should have him killed here. But then Hag blinks in. I do throw a cast to try to help her, but yeah. It's pretty unnecessary for her to blink in there. Tempest has a blink. Kronos has a blink. Like, there's no way that the Predator's getting away there. So just kind of, you know, I mean, it's good to keep helping. You're a blink hero, so it's kind of easy, but you're blinking into a blind spot where you can't see. I mean, you never know when you're going to get blown up. Obviously, you know they don't have a stunner there or something like that, which is the main problem, but still, kind of no reason to do that. So I see that they only have one hero who's up right now, and it's Chipper, who's probably not going to be able to solo kill me with all my abilities up, so I'm just going to push down this tower in mid with a creep wave. No reason not to. Yeah, so the team fights are kind of starting to go, well, I mean, not starting to go, ever since basically that one big team fight, which kind of shows, like, the whole, like, I mean, people always say, you know, when you're down in a game, all you need is one big team fight, and you can turn it around. And we weren't down by a lot, but we were still down, and then we had one good team fight, and we turned it around. And since then, we've definitely had the lead and inevitability with Kronos, so we're in a pretty good situation here. But, I mean, it's certainly not a cocky situation. Still just, warding, trying to claw back. I do throw up an aggressive ward into their jungle, which probably isn't the most effective thing. I was even thinking about it while I did it. Thinking, basically, well, I don't really, because we have Vision of the top, and we have Vision of Kongor now, so where else should I ward? But I probably should have thrown it at the top entrance to the jungle, that rune spawn, or back on the hill in the mid. But the hill in the mid doesn't seem as important now since we've taken the middle tower, so I'm not as worried about Devour setting up there to hook on a stationary target. Alright, here I go to help on Devour, which is just basically dumb. My teammate was safe anyway, and I put myself into a bad position. Again, don't let Devour get between you and your tower. Like, even if those other people hadn't come in to kill me, I still, like, have to run through him to get away. Or, I can run back down to the mid, maybe. But still, just a bad situation to be in. No reason for me to have done it. My teammates can get away. Again, and then, speaking of things that there's no reason for someone to do, Kronos throws on an ult here just on Devour, which, if there's any hero you don't want to go on an opposing team, it's Devour. And using Kronos ult just on Devour is kind of bad. So, yeah, that's basically that. But still, bad move on my part. Again, game is all about positioning. Just make sure you keep your positioning up. Don't run into spots you shouldn't be in. Kraken does get hooked here, which is kind of unfortunate, but the Devour actually cancels it. So yeah, we're going to see a team fight that doesn't involve me, where I can basically just talk about what's going on. Our team kind of backing up because they threw up their barrier idol, which is great. We're a ton of magic damage still at this point in the game, so avoiding doing much damage in their barrier idol is great. Plus, the more time they can buy while I'm rezzing is great. I wish I had money for a Homecoming Stone here because I would definitely teleport up, but there's no items that I have on me that I'm willing to sell to get a Homecoming Stone. So unfortunately, I'm just going to have to hoof it. Tempest throws down an ultimate here. Not the worst ultimate ever, so no complaints really. And I'm finally in. Immediately going to throw up a heal on one of my teammates. The Kraken's kind of low, so it's a good opportunity to heal. Throw up a cask on the Fred. Somehow he still has his stone hide up. I would assumed it would be out by now. But anyway, that's how these things go. Kind of running around there, hoping to be able to tablet of command the Tempest away, but I was just too far away. I wasn't able to get there in time. And I couldn't have run up through the woods because then I would have been putting myself into a bad position. So, unfortunately, my mistake there kind of ended up in a 2-for-2, but 2-for-2s aren't the worst ever, and Kronos lived, so not that big of a deal. The only downside is that the creep wave did automatically push our tower top while it was happening. So yeah, at this point, just kind of saving up money to get my BKB, which, I don't think support heroes need to save up money per se, or should be saving up money, but in a situation where you're close to an item that's that important, it's not the worst thing ever. So we're going to try to go on the chipper here, but we see blue comes to back him up, so no reason to dive for it. Again, take opportunities, but don't over-pursue. Pretty obvious. And as I was saying earlier about the ward in their jungle, so the reason why it ends up being basically useless is because we're not really a ganking team. We kind of can be, but, alright, because we do have heroes that can gank. Hag obviously is a good ganker, Kraken, it doesn't hurt. Voodoo Jester kind of can. Kronos, you could argue that basically any hero we have can gank, but still, we're not really, alright, so we have Kronos, like I said, who's extremely hard carry, and we have a bunch of teamfight abilities. So really, our best plan, is it's kind of like an old Kraken turtle strategy. Although not exactly. We're not really turtling, because we wouldn't mind pushing, etc., but we're just kind of relying on Kronos farming and team fights. So it's kind of just like knowing your role in the game, team-wise. Our role is not to be trying to roam through the woods and ganking. The scores are